Namaskar. In the last session, we had talked about fundamentals of digital transformation as applicable to governance. Now we would move on to cover session 2, which is on co-creating governance, tools and techniques for crowdsourcing ideas. Therefore, in this session, we would talk about ideal approach to digital transformation using design thinking. We would talk about the entire spectrum of informing to empowering citizens in the processes of governance. We would talk specifically about digital platforms involved for civic engagement. We would do some global comparisons. We would talk about hackathons, and last but not the least, we'll talk about power of mobile. In the last session, we had talked specifically about two approaches to achieve digital transformation of governance. One was systems thinking and second was design thinking. In systems thinking, we talked about creating holistically to embrace the new environment, and in that I talked about creating eventually one nation, one platform, a total smart republic ecosystem. In design thinking, we talked about co-creating digital transformation of governance by informing, consulting, involving, collaborating and empowering the citizens. We will talk more about design thinking in this session. Design thinking insists on consumer perspective, customer's perspective, or citizens, in our case, citizens' perspective to design something. It emphasizes on the need of collaborating with the recipient to create or design new systems. The whole idea of co-creation is to consider local context from the perspective of local citizens, for which citizen participation is a must. This approach therefore insists on multi-stakeholder collaboration, where an holistic overarching plan is drawn together with academia, research and development units, public, private, innovators and citizens participation to achieve SDGs in a meaningful way. This could be achieved in various ways. The easiest to understand co-creation processes is through a model which has been advocated by International Association of Public Participation, also called as IAP2. This model is called as from informing to empowering spectrum. The spectrum insists on a 5-stage involvement possibilities. The first stage or the first possibility is informing the citizens, where the government or governance bodies would inform the citizens and provide them balanced perspective about the issues under consideration. The second phase or the second possibility, a little higher possibility, is consult, which is undertaking dialogue with the citizens. Now citizens are becoming more proactive components of governance, and undertaking dialogues with them is a way of looking at their ideas, needs and aspirations. A little higher to consult is involve. Involve is working with the citizens, as well as also undertaking the opinion gathering phase, which we had been doing in inform and consult. The fourth possibility, a little higher to involve, is collaborate. So collaborate is an equal partnership approach where citizens and governance become equal partners in planning, designing and implementing any model. Last but not the least is empowerment. Empowerment, as the name also suggests, citizens design, plan, implement and also have an equal stake in the upkeep of that model. So empowerment is the highest level of this spectrum. So in inform, where we provide public with balanced and objective information about the activities in consideration, where we keep them informed, we use several tools and techniques like fact sheets, websites, open houses, face-to-face meetings, etc. In the second type, which is consult, a little higher, we obtain public feedback through public comments, focus groups, surveys, public meetings or Delphi techniques. In the third category, where we are involving the citizens or where we are directly working with the public, We undertake workshops and deliberative polling as two main tools that help us to work with the public. While collaborating, that means while partnering with public in each aspect of decision making, we use citizen advisory committees, we use consensus building approaches, we use crowdsourcing techniques, FICCIs, etc. In the final type, which is empowerment, where we place the final decision making in the hands of the public, we use tools like juries of citizens, ballots of citizens, delegated decision making by the citizens, which will empower our citizens to implement whatever they decided in the processes of inform, consult, involve and collaborate. The best way to inform, consult, involve, collaborate or empower our citizens is by creating digital platforms for civic engagement. All countries have created one form of platform or another. We have mygov.in in India, we have reach.gov.sg in Singapore, we have Mazi Voice in Kenya, we have Lepore in Indonesia, we have gov.lk in Sri Lanka, we have parliament.uk in United Kingdom, we have digitalgov.gov in United States, we have brazil.gov.br in Brazil. So there are several platforms available for civic engagement in various countries. I must point out here, even the developing countries, especially the lower middle income countries, are making good progress on this account, as has been pointed out by UN e-Government Survey of 2016. Let us look at Indian context. Let us look at the journey of digital transformation in our country from the year 2010 to now. For doing this in a more systematic manner, we have several indices. Two of them which are very popular are EGDI, E-Government Development Index, and EPI, E-Participation Index. EGDI is actually a composite index to measure the nation's progress in delivering services to the citizens through digital means. It is a composition of three other indices. One is OSI, Online Service Index. Second is TII, Telecommunication Infrastructure Index. Third is HCI, Human Capital Index. India in year 2010 was at rank 119 out of 193 countries. And now in 2018, India came up to the rank 96 out of 193 countries. With regard to e-participation index, which is actually to measure how well governments are connecting with the citizens, India was at rank 58 in 2010 and is now at rank 15 in 2018. How did India achieve such a good rank, especially in EPI? That has been largely made possible through the digital platform in India for civic engagement, which I told you is mygov.in. mygov.in works on the ethos of creating a participatory digital democracy by leveraging technologies to enable every citizen to contribute ideas and efforts for nation building and transforming these ideas into action and recognizing individual contributions. So citizens are able to discuss, disseminate and do with the government. They discuss in interactive group-centric online discussions on national themes where we have MyGov app, we have Mann Ki Baat, we have open forums, we have public consultation rounds. While doing, citizens are able to undertake online and on-ground tasks which are creative, where surveys are conducted, polls and quiz are conducted, e-greetings are created, volunteering is done and so on. In disseminate, as you guessed it right, it is information spread through blogs, talks, newsletters and even MyGov microsites, which such as eSampark, Transforming India, Dialogue with Decision Makers, MyGov events and so on. MyGov has added value addition for government also. It has become one-stop platform for government to engage with citizens to build consensus on public concern, in raising awareness on influencing them on public policy formulation. MyGov has also become an important task management tool for government, and it has helped government to evoke citizen participation in various forums. So, but how is MyGov performing in these regards or in these claims? IAPA was fortunate enough to do a global comparison of MyGov with United States platform, Singapore platform, UK platform and Australia platform. We did comparison by giving weightage on various aspects of inform, consult, involve, collaborate, empower. We also gave weightage on the level of citizen engagement done at each of these platforms, in rating it as high, moderate, low and none. And after doing that, we figured out very interesting results for all these platforms and compared MyGov with them. In these global comparisons undertaken by IAPA for mygov.in through Prime Minister's office, we reached the conclusion that UK has scored the highest of 39 out of 50 because UK had employed maximum techniques of citizen engagement. Singapore, reach.gov.sg was number 2 with the score of 35, US was at the score 33 and MyGov scored 30. Just a gap of 3 units despite being a late starter of 2014. And Australia was at number 5 because we figured it out and realized despite the claims it was only a service oriented portal. Apart from such portals like mygov.gov.in, government can directly consult the citizens through hackathons. If you would have noticed, just on July 4th, Prime Minister of India launched an innovation challenge for homegrown apps and announced that the winners would get something to the tune of 20 lakh rupees. Now, this was actually an announcement to create a Digital India Atmanirbhar Bharat Innovate Challenge contest to identify localized apps so that we could become world class in even creating apps to resolve local challenges. Ideas could be co-sourced even through our normal smartphones. Opinion gathering through mobile phones will help us to achieve inform phase where citizens can express their political views completely using social media handles or mobile phones. For example, the civil rights movement Black Lives Matter is an example of online activism using social media. Therefore, summarizing, presence of participatory approaches either through digital platforms or through hackathons or through any social media option like Twitter, Facebook, mobile phones, etc. reflects government's willingness to make citizens a partner in decision making in governance. This also contributes to better democracy with a specific correlation in decrease in corruption of that country. Thank you. Jai Hind. I'll see you in next session on digital transformation life cycle.